Okay, so I wanted to do a quick little follow-up on this Fairlane. I've been driving it, been working out little kinks here and there. The swap itself is done, just making sure it's been running good. And I kept having this problem. It was throwing a U0107, which is a loss of communication to the throttle controller, to the TAC module. Couldn't figure it out for the life of me. I looked it up on Google. Apparently it's kind of common problem. What a lot of people will do is they'll replace this connector pigtail. Apparently there's a service bulletin out that these connections in here can get kind of loose. So I replaced this. I was still getting the problem. Another thing was sometimes the ground circuit between the TAC, which mine is right here, and the ECU can get a little fuzzy, I guess. So what I did was, let's see if you can see, there's a wire right there. It's like an 8-gauge wire, and you can't really see it on this side, but it connects to this ground stud right here. It goes through there. So that ground stud is welded to the frame, and then that's where the battery grounds to. Okay, so I got that wire going right here onto the frame of the TAC, and then from there I have another 8-gauge wire going from the frame of the TAC module to the frame of the ECU. So I should have no ground problems, and yet I was still getting code. Car was still acting funny. It would just randomly die while I was driving. Like, what the hell? And sometimes when it died, it just wouldn't start. I'd have to wait a few minutes, and then, hey, it started up and ran great. Weird. So I was playing with it today, and so this is where the relay was for the ECU, right? And it had, the ignition signal right here would flip the relay, and I'd have positive from the battery, and then I'd connect it to the ECU, so ignition power to the ECU. Well, however, this is the starter solenoid, starter relay, whatever you want to call it, from the Fairlane. I think it's actually a universal Dorman, but either way, it's a starter solenoid. And I just wasn't thinking about this when putting the car together, but starter solenoids are not really rated for continuous current draw or continuous power. And so I think what was happening is I'd be driving the car for a while, the relay would be overheating, and then it would give me intermittent electrical issues, which would cause the TAC module signal to drop out, which would result in the code, which was loss of signal between the ECU and the TAC. So that makes sense. And then if the car shut off while it was warm and I couldn't start it, it's because that relay was overheated and it just wasn't working right, and I had to let it cool down for a few minutes, and then it would start. So that makes sense. Then today I was fiddling around with it, and it finally just gave out. I mean, it was weird. I would turn the key ignition on, and I would not have 12 volts on the output side of the relay. And when I turned the key off, it had 12 volts, which is obviously not good. So I went ahead and replaced. I got a new relay right here. This is actually an air intake heater relay, solenoid, whatever you want to call it, for a Dodge Cummins truck. I believe it's rated 95 amps, 12 volts. I'm pretty certain it is rated for continuous duty, which is what I needed. Now, I just wanted to put this out there. Maybe I'm just stupid, I guess. I have actually never used an actual starter relay to power the ECU, but I figured, a starter relay, it's got to be rated for a bunch of amps, no problem to run an ECU. Yeah, no problem to run an ECU for, a few minutes or whatever, but let me just throw this out. No problem to run an ECU for a few minutes, but anything longer than that, you're going to have problems, I guess. So maybe, I guess this is just a word of advice to everyone. Yeah, don't use a starter relay to power your ECU for any extended trips past a few minutes. If this makes sense to you, if you think that relay is why I was having issues with the TAC, let me know. If you think there's some other issue, let me know. And if you think that relay, the air heater intake air heater control relay, is actually not rated for continuous duty, let me know. All right, guys. Peace out.